Hello everyone, I'm Nurul Huda Khan. I'm a DevRel engineer at SquareUp. I'm going to talk about the ideal dev team dashboard, something designed specifically to solve the key challenges developers face every day. All right, so here's what we're going to dive into today. Let's begin by covering some common developer pain points. Then I'm going to show you something I built. I'm calling it the ideal dev team dashboard. I'll walk you through how it actually works. I'll also give you some automation tips here, though I won't go deep into the technical steps. But don't worry, I'll share the resources so you can check out exactly how I did it later. And then we'll wrap up with the main things to take away with some next steps you can actually try. So let's get started. Before I jump into challenges, I found some really interesting stats I'm going to share with you, and this put things into perspective. So, I found this fascinating survey from IDC earlier this year. They asked software developers a simple question: how do you actually spend your time at work? The results were pretty shocking. These developers are only spending around 16% of the week actually writing code. Just 16%. The other 84% is spent on, well, everything else, jumping between tools, tracking down information, dealing with all that overhead stuff. They call this other things as organizational inefficiencies. Basically, all the stuff that keeps devs from what they were doing meant to do. So these organizational if inefficiencies create daily friction points. You can also call them as daily headaches. Let me break down the top four friction points that keep coming up. First up is finding information. Right now, the data developers need is scattered everywhere, right? Like they are constantly hunting through different platforms just to get basic answers, which kind of breaks their focus and wastes their valuable time. The next is tool switching. Devs are constantly jumping between like 5, 6, 7 or other many different tools or applications throughout their day. Every switch disrupts their workflow, and it kind of adds some mental overhead, right? The third one is lack of clear direction, right? So without clear real time insights into what's happening across projects or teams, they kind of they work in silos, so developers can't see the bigger picture. I guess managers also face the same issue. Finally, there's this technical debt. This is another common, most common friction point, because it's hard to see how this technical debt is affecting system performance, and it's slowing down everything. So to sum up, the information is everywhere except where people need it, when they need it. So the question becomes, what if we could bring all that scattered data into one place? So the solution is actually pretty straightforward. Just flip the script. Instead of making people chase down the information, make the information come to them. Imagine having all the key data your teams need in one place, updated in real time, so they can focus on their actual work instead of hunting information. That's exactly what the right dashboard can do. A dashboard built for busy devs. All right. Let me show you what this looks like in action. I will walk you through the dashboard and you can see it for yourself how it brings everything together. All right, so here's what I've built. I call this as the ideal dev team dashboard. So this is not just another pretty dashboard. This is actually designed from the real customer use cases which we have already seen internally. And they were trying to solve those exact friction points which we talked about. So let me walk you through what you're seeing here. So the first section here is taken from Jira. So it shows our current sprint called Hyperhalo. You can instantly see what we are focused on. Then that's, there's this work breakdown. So it's all our tasks split by feature, story and bugs and the current statuses. So it kind of gives us idea on how things are, progressing currently. And there's a style, it lists all the work in progress tickets. So again, it gives idea on what currently is being worked on. And then there's unassigned work items in open state, and currently it's critical. So it kind of gives us idea that this is something that needs immediate attention, so that the unassigned work items can be taken care of. So here are some metrics from GitHub, right? So all our GitHub, pull requests in just one view. So what's being opened, what's being merged. So it's this sort of gives us idea on how fast we are moving. And then there's a number of open PRs pending for review, right? So for this, again, the monitoring is enabled. So in case if the open PRs are like more than two or three, maybe, let's say, so it becomes critical. So again, this is something that devs can actually get an idea that this is something it needs attention, right? So the middle section here is build and deployments. It's from Azure DevOps. So here's what we see are, build activities, how many are successful, how many are failed, plus details on some of the recent deployments. This section here is from SonarQube. It gives the code quality. It highlights all the issues and gives us the score, and it helps everyone, kind of keep technical debt away, at least to some extent, to focus on writing a better code. So this section here is from AWS. So, the system health score, it gives like the availability of your system. It could also be availability of your application, or maybe your services or things like that. So for now, the system health score is calculated from these lambda errors and lambda duration. So it kind of shows it's healthy. Here is lambda errors and durations, like how response times are. So what are the errors? Is everything good or not? And then finally, there's cost. So, right, so this is something interesting. I've included the cost information here, because when developers can see the real impact of the technical decisions, everything changes, right? Like that extra API call, choosing a larger instance, or adding more database queries. Suddenly these are not just any technical choices, right? The team can see exactly how these decisions translate to real dollars, right? And when people have that visibility, they naturally start making smarter and more cost conscious decisions. So yeah, this is it. So now that you have seen what's possible, let me show you how easy it is to build this. So I'll create a quick dashboard and grab like one tile. I will create one tile from each of the data sources, so that you can get an idea on how quick this process, how quickly you can build something like this. So let me go ahead and create a new dashboard. Let me add a new tile and start with, let's say, Jira, work items by status. Okay. So I'll select Jira, and yeah, I'll select, obviously I can pick the work items data stream. However, I am a big fan of JQL, right? It's so flexible. So anyone else here who love JQL, drop a quick yes or no in the chat. I'd love to know. I'll select JQL query, and I'll quickly throw a query here. So project is and sprint is for hello. All right. I'll click on apply and done. Yep, so I got all the work items from from the specific project and the specific sprint. Now I would like to group this by status and also by work item type. So I'll quickly apply grouping here, group by status, and I'll add another grouping here by issue type. Yep, and that's it. And I will choose a bar chart for this. So yeah, I would like to enable legend here. And yeah, you can keep it on the bottom or at the top as you prefer. So here we go. We have built our first tile using Jira. So I'll name this as work items by status. Okay, there we go. So now let's create another tile from, let's pick GitHub, and let's pick the open PRs. So I'll click on the pull request data stream here, and let's select the specific GitHub repo. I'll pick on as in the configure parameters section. I'm interested only on those PRs that has open state, and I would like to use the time frame, and the time frame column I'll leave it as created. So what does this mean here is if I go ahead and select a time frame, let's say for 7 days, it gives me all the PRs that were created in the last 7 days. So in case if you want to like view all the PRs that were closed in the last 7 days, so you will select the time frame column as closed, right? So yeah, yeah, that's it. And in the shaping section, I'm interested only on those PRs where the review status is not reviewed. All right, I'll click on done, and I'm interested in showing just the scalar um, visualization, and I'll go ahead and save this tile. So we have built our second tile using GitHub. Let me name this as awaiting for review. All right, so let's go ahead and set another tile. Let's use Azure DevOps. I want to display all the recent deployments. So I'll click on deployments, select the specific project. I will select I will select the time frame, let's say 7 days, and I'll save it. So it gives us like all the deployments in last 7 days. So now let's go ahead and create something from SonarQube, all right, the code quality metrics. So here's the thing actually. So there's currently we don't have a dedicated SonarQube plugin yet, but don't worry, it's coming soon. So in the meantime, what I'll do is I just go ahead and use Web API. You can also use PowerShell in case you can't find the specific data source. So I'll go ahead and use a Web API to pull the metrics from SonarQube. So yeah, the Web API plugin I've already configured. So all I need to do is just enter the path. So I'll quickly enter the path for the issues. Click on apply. And then I see that the issues has the object array. So let me go ahead and input the path to data I'm interested is issues, and I'll just hit on apply and done. So yeah, now that I have this whole list, I'm just interested in grouping them by severity. Yeah, done. And I want to view this in a donut, and then I'll click on save. So here's a tile we've built from Web API plugin. These are the issues in my code. All right, so now let's finally grab something from AWS. I'll go ahead and select the AWS. I'm interested in seeing my account cost. Um, there are so many services, but I'm interested to view only the top 5 services. So let me go ahead and sort. I'll click on amount in descending, and I want to view only the top 5 and click on done and save the tile. So there we go. We've just created a dashboard using 5 different data sources, and it did not take much of a time. We did not do complex coding here. Let's say you want to set up monitoring on this. For example, the pull request awaiting for review is 8, which is too many, and you want to let the reviewers know that this is something they need to review this, right? So we'll go ahead and enable monitoring here. So I'll go and click on this, enable monitoring. And the value is I'm interested in count. So the number of PRs. So I'll select the count. Evaluate by none. So if it is greater than, let's say, 5, it needs to error out. So I'll go ahead and save this. So this sort of gives us, visibility into what needs immediate attention. Now that I have enabled monitoring, so it doesn't make much sense leaving it over there. So let's integrate with Slack or Teams so that the reviewers get the a ping that this is something they need to look at. So I'll go ahead and enable notification for this. So I'll go to monitoring tab here. If you see down here, there's notification. I'll click on this page that takes to all the monitors. So here are all the monitors that are active in my workspace, engineering workspace. So I'll go ahead and add a notification rule. So the trigger, so I want to trigger only for one particular tile that we created now, right? The open PRs pending for review. I don't want to notify on all the monitors that are available that you have seen here right now. So I'll go ahead first and I will select this, select monitors in this, selected monitors in this workspace. And these are so many monitors here. Like I don't want to enable for all of these, just the one which we created now, the pull request awaiting for review. So I'll enable this here and I will save it. Now we have so many integration. Obviously you can select the one which you see fit. So I'll go ahead and select the Slack API because I've set that up for the reviewers. So that this is something I configured already. So I'll go ahead and click reviewers. And by default, you see the image of the tile in the notification is enabled. So I'll leave this default setting as is. And I'll click on save. So that's it. Now the reviewers group in the Slack will get the notification on this. So this makes it much easier for them. So yeah, this is all about it. So the beauty of Squared Up is how it pulls all the scattered information together, right? So instead of jumping between six different tools, everything is right here. If you can see, all from different data sources. And that was a pretty easy setup. The Slack integration too that we saw was so much straightforward too. So your teams get notified immediately if any issue arises. So yeah, let me give you some automation tips here. So there's something more you can do this than just leave the dashboard open for the team to check. For example, let's say every Monday morning, your team can automatically get the dashboard summary sent straight to Slack. It's like weekly briefing. Here's your sprint progress. Here are the key metrics. Here are any blockers that came up over the weekend, right? So everyone starts their week completely informed without having to hunt for updates, right? So I've documented this whole setup process for, the Slack integration, the scheduling, the content customization. I'll share those links at the end. Now, what happens when your organization grows? You don't want to manually recreate dashboard for every new team, right? So that's where Terraform comes in. We can manage a dashboard configuration as a code and deploy them automatically. So there's no need for manual setup each time. Using Terraform, you can do it easily. So there's actually already a dedicated session for this. However, I'll also, link this at the end of the presentation. So the result, so with easy access to all the information they need, development teams actually become 4.9 times more effective at making decisions and progressing work, 4.4 times more productive in their time, in their day-to-day tasks, and 4.4 times more adaptable to changing priorities and challenges. That's awesome, right? So, yeah, finally, to wrap up, so what sets a strong team apart, strong dev teams apart, is visibility. We have seen some challenges and how we can navigate them by bringing all the information together, what they needed, right? So that they can have a proper visibility. Automation then takes it up a notch by pushing real time updates directly into places like Slack and using tools like Terraform to roll out dashboards for many teams at once. Development teams get what they need right when they need it without any manual effort. And finally, we can make this happen by signing up to Square Up and start building awesome dashboards today. So here are some helpful links. Do check these out. So try Squared Up for free, or if you want to try creating these dashboards, I have documented the full dashboard story. Do have a look. I've also documented how to automate, every Monday morning Slack integration. And there's also document on how to use Terraform. And yeah, if you have any further questions, don't hesitate to contact me or connect me over LinkedIn. I'll be more than happy to discuss on this. Thank you for your time. I hope this gives you some idea for your own teams. Thank you very much and happy dashboarding.